A little bit about waiver premium. Have you guys been trained on that yet?
Yes.
Okay, so waiver is another KPI that you're measured on. Not a huge one, doesn't affect your comp as much as some of the other ones, but waiver is a feature that life insurance companies invented years ago when they discovered that most people, when they get disabled, don't have disability insurance. And so they get disabled, their income stops, and now it's like, okay, we got to cut back. I mean, what are we going to do? Life insurance bill just came, that's $600, but the kids need the baby food and diapers. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to pay the life insurance premium, or are you going to feed your kids? Easy decision. Easy decision for me. I'm feeding my kids, right? Life insurance goes down the toilet. That's what happens all the time. And so the carriers determined that for a little extra money, they could price for that, and they could say, look, if people get disabled, if you charge them a little more, the percentage that gets disabled, we can pay the premiums for them, which makes the policy better. If you get sick and you got cancer and you're going through chemotherapy, the last thing you want to do is drop your life insurance because you have no money. It's just silly. So we highly recommend waiver in all cases if it's available. If people don't want it, then let them decide they don't want it. I don't want them suing me for not explaining that they could have had it, because you can bet when they get disabled, they're going to say, well, you never even told me I could buy that. If you'd have asked me, if you'd have told me about it, I would have bought it. Yeah, sure you would. Maybe they would have. But I can tell you, if you tell them the right way and you recommend it on every single call, you'll sell it anywhere from 25 to 50% of the time. And it adds about 5 to 15% of the premium. It's not a big deal. It's not going to make or break anybody, but it does make the policy more solid. A policy with waiver is a policy better than a policy without waiver. It just is. People call us. I had a client call me. Unfortunately, the policy he bought, they didn't offer a waiver. But he called me up. He's a personal client of mine. He says, Byron, yeah, I said, how you doing? Hey, Dennis, I haven't talked to you in years. How you doing? He says, well, not so good. He says, I don't know if I told you, but I got in a terrible car accident a few years ago. I got hit by a truck. I haven't been at work for 3 years. I'm trying to go back. They say I'm not certified to go back. But I'm not calling to complain. I'm just calling to ask you a question. He says, my policy, I heard that there's a feature on some life insurance policies where if you get hurt or sick, that they pay the premium for you. I just want to know if I have that feature. And my heart just sunk into my stomach. I'm like, oh my God. I mean, I freaking hope he does. I really hope he does. Well, it turns out he didn't. And I was a little bit vindicated because that company didn't offer waiver. It was a new product and waiver was not yet available. It was actually the first RLP product that we had. And they just didn't have, they never did offer waiver. It ended up going off the market, but it was a cool product. I tried to sell waiver every single chance I got. Number one, if you sell waiver on every single case, you're going to make 15% more money because the waiver adds 10 to 15% to the premium. So you just give yourself a raise. And since you don't know which of your customers are going to be disabled, you don't know who you're helping or not. You're not hurting anybody because the premium's not enough to sneeze at. It's not, if it's $1 a week, who cares? I mean, who's going to miss $1 a week? People find $1 a week in the cushions of your couch. I mean, it's nothing. It doesn't cost enough to make them not do it. It just makes plain sense. Yeah. And by the way, the odds of disability between ages 25 and 65, 4 times greater than the odds of death. So the odds of actually collecting on the waiver portion of it is greater than the odds of you dying between ages. And they say, well, what if I don't get disabled? It's a waste of money. You're right. If you don't get disabled, it's a waste of money. But then again, if you don't die, the whole thing's a waste of money, right? And that's usually enough. I mean, I did the whole waiver thing maybe 2 minutes. It's worth 2 minutes on each case to have that discussion, just like I did it. And since we now have this memorialized on tape, you can listen to it again and again until you get it. You can play it in your car. I don't know, whatever it takes. But if you do those things, a lot more people will buy waiver. And you know what? Some of your customers are going to get disabled, and they're going to thank you. And the ones that don't get disabled are not going to be pissed at you. They're just not. They're not going to remember. The one thing you do need to do, and you can't do, is just quote everything with waiver and not tell them you're giving it to them. Say, I'm just going to do it. They're not going to understand it, so I'm just going to include it. If you do that, now you're quoting $660, and then they call select quote, and they hear 600, and oh, well, select quote's cheaper. Well, they're not quoting waiver, so you have to explain to them that you're including this feature. One of the things that you're doing that no one else will do, because our competitors don't ever talk about these things. They're not going to talk about waiver. They're going to appreciate the fact that you explain to them all their options. They like that. They like that you care about them. You don't think of waiver like Z-Bart or Fabric Guard when you buy a car, like you guys trying to sell you like the window etching or the other nonsense they try to add on when you buy a car. It's not like that. This is a real feature that has real benefits. You're going to be disabled 4 times more likely to be disabled than to die. And if you get disabled, I got to tell you, it's one less bill to worry about. Because frankly, when you get disabled, there's not a single bill that stops. Your mortgage keeps coming in. Your car payments keep coming in. You still got to feed your family. The life insurance bill comes. It'd be nice if that one bill, that's the only one, if you told me I could do this with other types of insurance, I would do it. But you can't. I mean, nothing else stops. This is the one bill that will stop coming if you get disabled, if you buy waiver. So we love waiver.